Hey guys, how's it going? Happy Saturday. It's me, Amanda Gold, with Kick Ass with Both Feet. And this is where I show up and offer some coaching or some encouragement or some general zazz and pep to help you kick ass with both feet, which is to live your most amazing life, be your most amazing self, get out of your own damn way, and just get after it already, whatever it is you want to get after. And on Saturdays, I do coaching around a theme. And this month's theme, the month of July, is courage. And then I picked little sub themes. They all start with C for each Saturday of this month. So we've already done courage to get out of competition mode. We've done courage to collaborate. And today is about courage to communicate. I'm really excited about this one because I've done a lot of coaching on myself to be a stronger communicator. And specifically, what I've been thinking about is communicating when you're afraid of what the answer is going to be. So basically, asking for something you want, and how do you handle if the person says no, or if you don't get your way, or if you don't get what you want. And kind of like figuring out how to clear away the bullshit that's stopping you from asking for what you want. So this can be really good when you just need a favor, say, and you're afraid to ask for it, or say you have a career and you want to ask for a job, a raise, or more responsibility, or a promotion. I know so many women struggle with doing this. Women in particular. I know lots of people struggle with this, but if you're socialized as a woman in this society, we often really struggle to speak up for ourselves and ask for what we want and demand what we need. Like, it doesn't even have to be so strong as demand, but sometimes I think we feel like asking for a thing is akin to like demanding or being pushy or needy or whatever. And so we have all this drama around why we should or shouldn't ask and what we're going to make it mean. So I just wanted to offer something to help with that and make you a better asker, and to help you manage your mind around the feelings that are coming up, so that you can ask with clarity and be okay with whatever the answer is, and have integrity and pride knowing that you at least had the courage to ask. So as we know, courage is taking action in spite of fear. So when I'm talking about courage to communicate, as I've already said, I'm talking about the communication that scares you and you want to do it anyways. We don't want to just shirk this stuff. Communication is so vital, and asking for what we want is so important because it has the opportunity to strengthen relationships. If not with the person that we're asking, which it can do that as well, and it's super valuable and awesome, and a big reason why I persist in communicating even if it's scary. But we also strengthen our relationship with ourselves, which I think is the most important relationship. And so when we learn to have courage in asking for what we want, no matter what the answer is, we get this sort of like coin in our trust jar with ourselves about like, hey, that person said no to me, but at least I had the courage to ask. And we get stronger and we get braver and we get more likely to ask in the future. And if you don't ask for something, it's always going to be a no 100% of the time. So we really need to practice asking, because there could be so many yeses that are just on the other side of our fear, or being mildly uncomfortable or temporarily uncomfortable. So I want to distinguish, think about a time when you've wanted to have a conversation with someone, maybe something needed to be said or addressed, or you needed to ask for something and you were afraid. I want to look at what we're actually afraid of there. We think we're afraid that they're going to say no, or that they're going to think less of us. I know I recently had some experiences where I asked for something and I was very scared to ask, and I had a lot of drama while I was waiting for the reply because I was afraid of what it meant about me. I was afraid of what the other person thought of me for asking. I was afraid of what it would do to our relationship if they were disappointed in me or said no to me or whatever it was. So the thing to understand here is we're never actually afraid of the other person or what they're going to say. Truly, anyone can say anything about us and think anything about us, and it doesn't actually hurt. Now, this might be hard to believe, but if you've been with me for any amount of time, you know that I teach the mindset model, which is about how circumstances, which includes other people and their thoughts about us, are always, always neutral. The thing that actually causes our feelings, that causes our shame or our pain or our embarrassment or rejection, is our thoughts about what they're thinking. And often this is just pure drama that our brains are making up and presenting to us as if it's truth. And so we're in all this drama about something that might not even actually be happening. For instance, if I'm asking someone for something and I'm afraid of what they're thinking of me, I don't know that they're thinking that. And often I find out that they weren't thinking that at all. And I was just truly thinking that about myself and projecting it onto that other person. That's the thing too to remember, is if someone says something to us that hurts us, it means there's a part of us somewhere in there that is bought into that and agrees with it, or is afraid of that being found out. So if someone thinks I'm a piece of shit, or I'm lazy, or I'm rude, if I believe that, if that hurts me, if that impacts me, and I'm like, ugh, that means that I agree with them on some level. If I know that I'm a good person and I'm a hard worker and I'm not lazy, if someone said something like that to me, I'd be like, whatever, you're crazy. Like, that ain't true. But if it hurts, we think it's true. And that's our work that we can do. This is all very good news, because if it's our thoughts that cause our feelings, and it is, then we can always manage our own minds to feel however we want to feel about a situation. And so I recommend getting really clear on, this is for when you're about to ask someone, or if you're delaying asking someone, and then if you're waiting in that in-between stage of dreading or being afraid of what they're going to say. You can coach yourself around this to get to a place of clarity. So there's a couple things I recommend. One is getting really clear on what you're afraid of. So whether this is the pre-ask or the pre-conversation, or whether it's in that period of waiting for the reply, get super clear on what you're scared of. Are you afraid that they're going to say no to you and you want something and you're not going to get it? So then you're managing the feeling of disappointment, or rejection perhaps, or maybe you're afraid that they're going to think less of you, or they're going to be mad at you. So then you're dealing with other people's feelings about you, or your idea of what they're going to think, right? It's imaginary. The thing I want to really point out is that mostly what you're afraid of is a feeling. You're afraid of feeling disappointed. You're afraid of feeling rejected. You're afraid of feeling bad about another person's opinion of you being true perhaps. So what I want to offer is to go there in your mind now and really have your own back. This is a huge piece of this. When we're practicing feeling emotions, to get familiar with them so that we're not afraid of them, so that we're not always working to avoid these negative emotions. If you have your own back, you know, okay, I'm not going to buy into this drama. I can feel disappointed and know that I'm not going to make it mean something extra bad about myself. Or I know that I have my own back to let myself feel this feeling, and then I'm going to help myself get out of it later. I'm going to take care of myself through this. I'm going to feel whatever shitty feelings, but I'm going to love myself through it, and I'm going to take care of myself through it, and I'm going to heal from it if it's really a doozy, right? So just get really clear on the fact that you're actually afraid of feeling a feeling, and then practice feeling that feeling in advance, and tell yourself and understand that this is just a feeling. It's not going to hurt you, and you don't even have to feel that feeling. The feeling is coming from a thought, and if you can recognize the feeling that you're dreading, and you can understand the thoughts that would cause that, I'm afraid to ask this person because I'm afraid of what they think of me. Can you do the work around not caring what this person thinks of you? This is where having your own back comes in handy. Really boost yourself up before you make the ask, or while you're waiting for the reply. To say, you know what, it doesn't matter what this person thinks of me. I asked from a clear place. I asked because I thought it was right, or because I needed to, and I have my own back no matter what they think of me. So just kind of getting out ahead of the feeling and knowing that you're able to feel it. It will not kill you. A feeling is a vibration in the body, and especially if you don't resist it, if you just let it pass, if you just sit with it, you can welcome it, you can be friendly to it, you can just allow it. It will pass through you so much more cleanly and more quickly. So this is we just want to clean it up. When we're afraid of making an ask, we're just in a lot of drama, and so this conversation today, or these ideas, are just about cleaning up that drama ahead of time and kind of getting ahead of it and expecting that this might happen, and then how am I going to take care of myself through it, right? We're not trying to predict what the other person's going to do so much. If we do, we're only doing it to get at what is the feeling that I'm afraid of feeling, right? We're not trying to game it out so that we're trying to control what the other person does. In fact, the best way to approach a communication like this that you're afraid of is to be okay with their answer no matter what. So again, coach yourself to get to a place, find some thoughts that are going to support you, that you can think on purpose, that make it absolutely okay if you get a yes, a no, a maybe, if they yell, if they ask more questions, if they are upset with you in any way, make sure that you are okay with that. Let that be okay with you. And what do you need to do to get there? Well, that's the kind of thoughts that you're going to think ahead of time. So if you're making it mean, if you're saying oh, this person being mad at me for asking this, that's bad because I make it mean that I'm a bad person and I upset this person. But we have to remember too, other people's feelings aren't our responsibility either. Feelings aren't caused by circumstances. So other people's feelings are caused by their thoughts as well. And so that could be a really helpful thought. Like, if this person's mad at me, that's okay. That's their thoughts. Basically, if you don't agree that them being mad at you is the right thing, like you're not going to be mad at yourself. You're not going to be ashamed of yourself. Also, then you can handle someone else's opinions or reactions a lot better if you're not jumping into the pool with them about yourself. So I hope that makes sense. Mostly I just wanted to say, have the courage to communicate and make note of your wins too. Like, embrace the yes. Like I said before, if we don't have the courage to ask, it's always going to be a no. And so many times when we coach ourselves and we get to a clear place and we have the courage to ask for what we want, oftentimes it's a yes, or it's definitely not as bad as we imagined it would be. And I want you to make a specific note of that, like write it down, or just like pause when you get a yes, or when you get good news, or when it goes well, or just whenever you have the courage to do this. Just really let it sink in and let it build you up so that you have even more courage for the next time. This is a great skill to learn. It's just so important to be able to stand up for yourself and use your voice and ask for what you want. And it can deepen relationships, and you can be surprised about what the other person says in response to you, and you give them an opportunity to serve. So many times we're like, oh, I don't want to ask because I don't want to be a burden. And sometimes people are genuinely waiting to be asked. Like, if they don't know what we're dealing with, they can't help us. And a lot of times they want to. So there's lots of good reasons to get good at this. If you want to know more, or if you want support, if you want to know more about one-on-one coaching with moi, you can email me at amandagoldmakesart@gmail.com. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next Tuesday for your weekly weekly Try It Tuesday. Good to be here with you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.